Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the next series on my channel here about the City of Heroes, the Homecoming servers, that MMO superhero, supervillain, superpowered game from the 80s or 2000s, whatever it was, back in the day. It's back, and it's better than ever. In this new series, we're taking a look at an impossibility, perhaps something I'm calling the Support Stalker Experiment. Hey, what's that all about? What are you doing now, DC? Because this is some crazy crap you're spewing. Well, let's get into that. What is a stalker, first of all? So, in the City of Heroes, when you start the game, you choose a character, and your character has to fit one of, I think it's 12 different archetypes or 13 or something like that. Maybe more, I don't know. But anyway, Stalkers are one of the classic COV, City of Villains archetypes out there. Started in 2006, I believe. Yes, I was playing back then. And the Stalker, according to the wiki, is a stealthy class archetype. It says here that skill can divert clumsy raw power and precisely applied force can solve many problems. As a stalker, this is the core of your specialty. You do your best work attacking from ambush and can even hide in plain sight to escape foes. Deadly attacks and good defenses make you a dangerous combatant and assassin. But you'd be overwhelmed if you're not careful. So, the classic version of the Stalker is this: high DPS damage in melee, but hit and run tactics. Um, Decent survivability, but really no good at anything else. And because they're really based around stealth, this hide and seek game, they can be selfish, at least the ones I've played with, or they tend to lean that way stereotypically. Now, I'm going to come right out and say I don't have a lot of experience playing Stalkers. I've played all of one back on live and none since Homecoming came back out. And it's mainly because their playstyle just doesn't attract me, more so than a Scrapper does, but less so than pretty much everything else in the game. But I want to try to change that because the one thing I see here in their third best ability is this crowd control angle. And that, my friends, is where I think I'm going to approach this test from, this experiment. Can I give stalkers or get stalkers enough crowd control? And by crowd control, I don't mean just raw control. I also categorize that as debuffery. Can I get enough debuffery and control powers for my stalkers that they're going to be more than this one trick pony of, stealth, assassin, hide, that lather, rinse, repeat, or worse, you play solo on a team because everybody else will be doing that fight and stuff. I'm gonna run to the end, click the glowy, assassinate the boss, and click exit. Cause done. What else do we need to do here? Boring, right? So that to me is kind of at least that's my vision of stalkers, or why I don't like to play them, and why I want to take on this challenge. Can I make a stalker fun for someone like myself? And I would argue fun for a lot of people because I don't see a lot of stalkers in the game. They're probably the least played archetype out there, or darn close. I mean, they're really good probably at solo if you just want to sneak to the end and click glowies or kill bosses. Sure, they're great at that, but if you want to get on a team play and have some fun, which to me is what City of Heroes is all about, it's a MMO, right? It's massive multiplayer online game. You got teams of 8 you can play with, so being a solo artist really doesn't sing to me. So I want to do something about that. So that's my thinking. That's my goal here. Now, if we come down here and we take a look at the primary and secondary sets, you're not going to see anything too fancy. These primary sets are a lot of your classic weapon sets and a lot of the elemental attack sets. And then over here in the secondary powers, you've got a lot of the armor sets. And these two, sets of powers are common to scrappers, brutes, tankers, right? And to a lesser degree, sentinels. They all kind of share these, at least most of them. So, what makes a stalker more fun, more interesting, more unique that they can get some mileage that others can't? Well, what I want to do is focus on those primary sets and those secondary sets that have some CC, some crowd control, and debuff. And not just looking here, because I've gone through these and there are some sets that have a lot, but most of them don't have much. But the one place where you can find a good chunk of what I'm looking for is actually down here in the ancillary power pools and the patron pools. There's a good bit of control and debuff down here. So I think here's where we're going to be able to make our money with this concept of having a supporting role. And by support, what I mean is you're going to stick with the team and you're going to leverage your powers to make the team better and not just kill something, because anybody can kill stuff. And, yeah, Stalker can light up a boss or whatever, but what else can you do? Because a scrapper can do that. Blaster can do that. I mean, anybody can do that. Brute, you name it. Dominator, I don't care. You can light up a boss. So what else can you do? And how can we leverage the Stalker inherent abilities of crits, Assassin Strike, Assassin's Focus, hiding specifically to make this happen? Because I think here I think is where we can have some fun with this, because what I'm proposing isn't anything crazy. Like, I can make a brute kind of do what I'm talking about, or a scrapper do what I'm talking about, because they have essentially these same abilities here. But what the stalker can do and the others can't is this really good ability to stay out of sight, hide. So picture this: being hidden and sneaking right up to the center target or whatever of a group, and then activate, if you will, these debuffs and these controls that I'm talking about. Because, spoiler, the debuffy powers that you'll find, let's say, in one of your armor sets, as an example, ice armor brings to the table Chilling Embrace, which is a toggle minus recharge, minus speed, minus damage. Normally, if you're a scrapper, brute, or tank, and you step near somebody with this power on, you're going to aggro, because it's going to essentially attack the enemy. But with stalkers, that is not true. When a stalker is hidden, has the hidden status, those outward facing debuffs are suppressed. So, follow along here. What if you use your hide ability to get right up near where you want? Because as a longtime support debuff, player myself, that I like to play those types of classes, one of the problems with debuffing or controlling is finding, that sweet spot target, either that boss, that needle in the haystack of a group of 10 or 12 enemies, or that center mass position of a cluster group. With a stalker, you're going to be a smart bomb. You're going to be able to get right on the target where you want the debuff to apply, and then bam, hit it. Not just kill it with Assassin Strike, but everybody around it is going to be getting jacked up by the controls and by the debuff. So that's what I'm conceiving here. Being a close support control / debuff melee character, and using those abilities to mitigate damage, not just for myself but the whole team, and help neuter the enemies so that the rest of the team can just clean up. And so you're still going to be using your critical damage, which you typically get juiced up if you're in that hidden state, but you also can land crits even out of hide, and the crits get better the more teammates you have. FYI, not better, more damage, but more likely to score a hit, a critical. So it also, makes sense for you to want to be on a team and near your teammates. Notice it says within 30 feet. So you running off to the next level of the map doesn't help you. And then the other interesting thing is Assassin's Strike was, I think, buffed a while back. I think it might have been through Homecoming servers. But when you land that critical Assassin Strike, it does triple damage. But enemies, says here, all nearby non-player enemies including the target, are demoralized and suffer a small but irresistible to hit penalty and occasionally fear. So your Assassin Strike is applying a debuff and a control for 8 seconds. And then the other thing is you also have this Assassin's Focus thing, which is the more times you attack with your other attacks, aside from Assassin's Strike, you build Assassin's Focus, which gives your Assassin's Strike a increased chance to do normal critical damage, I think even outside of hide. Yeah, out of hide. So, you're able to still do a lot of damage by attacking, by staying in melee, by staying engaged and near your teammates. So that is kind of my idea here, is creating a Stalker using the available power sets with particular emphasis on the epic sets here, and coming up with a way to make them highly supportive of a team without necessarily sacrificing a bunch of damage. Okay, so that's kind of the goal. So let's go and take a look at what we're talking about, or at least some of the ideas here. So if you're following along so far, thumbs up this video. Now here's what we've got. So I worked with my friend Kathy on this one, and I went through each of those power sets and pulled out the sets that had the most debuff control out there, and I pitched this to Kathy, ChatGPT, with these basic goals in mind. I wanted to challenge this stereotype. So the idea that, you know, the selfish, sneaky melee DPS archetype, can it be a tactical asset, helping elevate safety of the team, efficiency, synergy with the team? Second, redefining the role, the expectations. Can your Stalker give powerful, consistent team support through debuffs, through the battlefield control, through soft mitigation? And then I wanted to be able to find a way to evaluate this effectiveness. How do different power set combos? So I took those sets and gave it to ChatGPT and to come up with some combinations that would do this combination of debuff and control, along with the precision strikes, along with the stealth. Which powers are gonna synergize for the Stalkers to give them this stealthy disruption ability, this and enable debuff focus, not just score damage hits, and have some way to measure this, to quantify it. And then lastly, just some creative builds, some inspiration, not just your standard, you know, A-tier Stalker combo you'll find on the forums or something like that. But what are some unconventional pairings? What are some odd ways perhaps of looking at slotting that we can give mechanical and thematic depth to the team play? So those are my challenges, and I pitched this to Kathy, and with her assistance, I came up with not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, not, well, yes, 7 different pairings of Stalkers. 7. Let's take a look at them. The first one, Nullbind. This is the name of this character. Tagline, the chill before the kill. Here's what I've got. Psionic melee, ice armor, psi mastery. Concept here, and I'm going to go more in depth on these because I want to do is a series of videos following this introductory video here, where I get into each one of these characters, their story, their concept, their build on mids, do some solo play, do some team action, record some videos, record some stats, and present it to you guys. Let you know, hey, what's working. But here's the concept so far, and all this is subject to change as I actually get in the characters, because right now I'm in the creation phase and leveling them up, that kind of thing. But he's a rogue psionicist fused with crystalline frost. Nullbind silences the battlefield with waves of psychic suppression and paralyzing cold. His presence alone slows time and thoughts. Enemies crumble before they can react. His toolkit for team. Stacked minus recharge debuffing. Psi Melee's got it. Chilling Embrace, which I showed you a little bit earlier. And Psi Mastery. Lots of minus recharge in those powers. Entire, mob spawns of them are going to attack Not just half as often, but 10% as often. Also, constant AoE control. There's Mass Levitate has huge amounts of knockup. You got Confuse as an option for single target. Greater Psyblade has a hold. And there's some sleep and disorient powers in Psionic Nexus, which is in the Psi Mastery set, that became available to Stalkers on the Homecoming servers maybe like a year ago. AoE Endurance Drain is in this kit. Energy absorption from Ice Melee. It's pretty powerful minus Endurance. And it also boosts his defense. And then Aura of Weakness. Chilling Embrace has the minus speed, has the minus recharge, but it also has minus damage to anybody that's standing near you. So picture him getting in close and starting to layer on all this minus recharge, minus speed, minus damage, and throwing out some of that control, all point blank range. What makes him special? Nullbind is not just going to be some slippery, dodging in, dodging out. He's going to make the entire team safer because he's going to suppress enemy attacks. He's going to drain their will and stop the threats before they begin. He's not going to be flashy, but the enemy is going to be, when you're the last one standing, you're going to be wondering, why the hell can't you activate your powers and attack back? That is concept number one. And when we get done with the video, in the comments, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Hey, which one should I go for first? Because like I said, I got 7 of these, so I don't know where I want to start. There's so many goodies here, so I want to get your input on this. Maybe have a little poll. So if you see one combo you like the most, or you have a ranking for me, feel free to share. Like and subscribe while you're down there. Dead Cell is concept number 2, known as the drain before the pain. Electric Melee, Bio Armor, and Mew Mastery. Concept here: failed experiment in bioelectric augmentation. Dead Cell is what happens when a nervous system learns how to strike back. His mutated body pulses with unstable energy, siphoning power, silencing thought, and shutting down enemies like a collapsing circuit. As a living fusion of flesh and charge, he doesn't just kill, he empties. Think you know where this is going. Team Support Toolkit. Little secret here. A lot of electrical melee attacks have a sleep effect to them. So you punch, and most people think, oh, you're going to do some energy damage, do a little bit of endurance drain, which is true. But a lot of them, Charge Brawl, Jacob's Ladder, etc., and from the Bio Armor set, Genetic Corruption, they all have a sleep. So this is going to allow you to stagger the bosses, sleep the minions, and they're going to constantly be cycling in and out of a slept, awake state as you're draining them. Speaking of drain, total endurance drain, right? Ball lightning, chain induction. The Mu Adept has minus endurance, minus recovery, shock powers. Recovery and regen suppression, DNA siphon, EM pulse. They're going to cut off healing, endurance return, and they're going to keep those high priority targets neutered, especially over a long fight. And then you have ambient safety with some minus damage auras, genetic corruption, parasitic aura. They're continually going to weaken enemy damage output. So it's an invisible shield for the entire team, because it's not just helping you not take less damage. The enemy can't do damage as well, so it's going to help everybody that they attack. What makes him special? He's not just going to charge in a battle. He's going to shut it down. Enemies aren't going to be exploding all over the place. They're going to flicker, falter, and fall silent. And while teammates are brawling or blasting, he's going to be quietly removing the enemy's ability to fight at all. With the stacked sleeps, the drained endurance bars, the recovery locking, the minions are going to be getting put to bed, the bosses are going to get unplugged, and the team is going to be standing strong. He's not just going to survive these fights, he's going to cancel them. Number 3, Depleted Uranium, the quake before the break. What's up with this build? Stone Melee, Radiation Armor, Energy Mastery. Concept here: Depleted Uranium is a skeletal missile in motion, a collapsing core of irradiated mass, cloaked in stone. He opens with seismic strikes and slams through enemy ranks like an unstable particle, scattering their formations and defenses alike. When you layer Stone Melee's battlefield knockdowns, which it has a bunch, and Energy Mastery's precision laser and kinetic disruption, Depleted Uranium is going to become this frontline disruptor. He's going to soften the enemies for the team, exposing them to devastating follow-up attacks and shattering cohesion. He's not going to vanish. He's going to erupt, dragging enemies down into the shockwave with them. Support toolkit. A bunch of minus defense. Ground Zero has it. Laser Beam Eyes has it. Crowd control. Bunch of crowd control. Knockdowns and knockbacks. Fault. Tremor. Stone Mallet. Heavy Mallet. Energy Torrent. They all have a bunch of knockback, knockdown. Regen debuff. You've got Radiation Therapy. AoE minus regen. And it has a DOT heal as a bonus. And it's Sustained Ground Zero. Going to help heal the team over time. What's making him special? He's a frontline disruptor. He's going to weaken everything he touches. And his power, all those slams and jams and stomps, concussive, debilitative. Enemies are losing their footing. Their armor's failing. Their healing's going to stop. And when he's engaged in combat, the team's not going to feel pressure. He's not going to absorb or deflect damage. He's going to just prevent the enemy from even delivering it because it's going to be flat on their back most of the time. Number 4, Night Creeps. The dark before the doom. Dun dun dun. Spines melee. Dark armor. Dark mastery. A mutant horror. Fusing vicious thorn-covered melee with supernatural suppression. Her strength lies not in raw damage, but in unraveling enemy attacks through relentless accuracy debuffs, recharge reductions, and area control. She's going to have lots of little soft control abilities. Her battlefield presence spreads from cone to cone, fear to fear, ensuring the enemy never strikes true and never stands where they mean to. Team Support Toolkit. Bunch of to-hit debuffing. Cloak of Fear, Torrents, Nightfall, Tenebrous Tentacles, massive amounts of stacking, lower enemy accuracy. Layered crowd control. You got the Cloak of Fear. You got Stun from Oppressive Gloom. Immobilize from your Tentacles. Knockback from Ripper and Torrent. There's a Hold and Petrifying Gaze. Minions, lieutenants are going to be constantly suppressed by all this stuff. Recharge and speed debuffs. Those spine powers have a lot of slowing debuffs attached to them. So attack rates, movement speeds are going to be much lower than what they should be. And there's lots of cone attacks too. Not super long range ones, but he's not going to be at long range. He's going to be middle range, short range. Throw spines, Nightfall, Tenebrous Tentacles. Very efficient multi-target coverage. He's just going to be able to pour attacks into large numbers of foes at once. Or she. What makes her special? She thrives as a ranged zone denial specialist. Cone heavy layout, massive debuff, soft control layering. It's going to let her soften entire fronts of enemies before the team even gets close. She's going to be a Vanguard controller disguised as a melee assassin, weaponizing fear, darkness, and debilitating thorn precision to keep the team safe. And when she strikes, the enemies don't just bleed. They falter, panic, and fall apart. Bum, bum, bum. Number 5. We've got Edge of Winter. The frost before the freeze. Ice melee. Ninjutsu. Ice mastery. Edge of Winter. She's precision control stalker. Ice smooth, silent, and surgically cold. She's built to debilitate from a distance and dominate up close. Stacking overlapping minus recharge, minus speed effects, locking entire enemy groups in a frozen haze. She's got layered crowd control, sleeps, knockdown, holds, confuses, creating a battlefield where the enemy never gets a chance to act. And she's not going to rush. She's going to make the whole world wait for her. Toolkit. Lots of mobility suppression, minus speed and minus recharge. Ice melee has it in a lot of the attacks. Ice Mastery has some. You got Caltrops from Ninjutsu. The Ice Elemental that comes with Ice Mastery, its attacks have minus speed, minus recharge. All that's going to combine to make the enemies sluggish, trapped, unable to escape or reposition. Then you've got more crowd control, area denial, frozen auras, asleep, blinding powders, sleep confuse, freezing touch is a hold, petrifying gaze is a hold, ice patch is a knockdown, layering AoE suppression. This will be perfect for locking down minions, harassing your bosses, the summoned pets applying slows, holds, range, debuffs, even while edge is repositioning or hiding. Stealth and control utilities, smoke flash as a placate, blinding powder as minus to hit, tactical aggro resetting, and additional accuracy debuffs for team safety. Beautiful. What makes her special? She's not going to fight fair, that's for sure. Pure tempo control we're looking at here. She's going to strip away speed, power, and agency from the enemies. And more than that, she's going to shape the battlefield. She's got these layered cones. She's got persistent auras, wide radius area effects, caltrops, the ice patch, the frozen aura. All that stuff is going to turn choke points and corridors into death traps. The enemies aren't just going to be getting slowed. They're going to stall. They're going to scatter. They're going to freeze in place while the rest of the team just dismantles them. So she's not just going to stop a fight. She's going to be able to control where it happens and who even gets to act. Number 6. Zeus Warden, the shadow before the strike. Dark melee, shield defense, soul mastery. Concept here, Zeus is a guardian stalker. A guardian stalker. He's not built to disappear, but to make your entire team untouchable. His fighting style is built around degrading enemy accuracy while bolstering teammate defense with unwavering focus. Every strike dims the enemy's vision, and every step carries a protective ripple. While others are striking to kill, Zeus is striking to guard. Team support, minus to hit debuffing and all those dark melee powers. Shadow Punch, Smite, Shadow Maul, Midnight Grasp, Touch of Fear. Then you got Dark Blast, Moonbeam, the Night Widow that comes with the Soul Mastery. She's got smoke grenades, of course. All that's going to be strong, layered accuracy debuffing. The enemies, when they do attack, they're hardly going to land a blow. Team defense buffs with grant cover is going to give nearby enemies positional defenses, stealth and resistance to defense, and recharge debuffs. Crowd control, Midnight Grasp, shield charge, soul storm. All that's going to help suppress enemy action through layered control effects, protecting your squishy teammates from retaliation. What makes him special? He isn't just about offense. He's ensuring that our offense never gets interrupted. The team's, that is. He's going to ward the team's flank, silently degrade the enemy's ability to retaliate. With every swing, every whispered blast, he's dragging down the accuracy of everything around him while bolstering his allies' ability to stand tall. I think I'm going to also give this guy maneuvers from the leadership pool. And Zeus Warden is the shield in the dark, the blinding of the eye. He's perfect for teams that don't want to get hit at all. And then our final, number 7, Overexposure, the flash before the ash. Radiation melee, energy aura, fire mastery, the concept here. She's a mutant irradiated beyond repair, now burning with purpose. She doesn't fight enemies, she unravels them. Wielding volatile radiation strikes, layered with fire-born ruin, Overexposure specializes in debilitating enemy defenses, overloading their endurance, and searing their resistance down to 0. Her strikes are brutal, opening foes for team attacks, locking down your targets with searing stuns and weakening them so allies can clean up without fear. She's built not to vanish either, but to corrode everything around her. So that's kind of a common theme. These stalkers that I'm conceiving here aren't going to cut and run. They're going to get in there and scrap it out and apply a bunch of control and debuff while they're in there. Team support toolkit. Defense debuff, of course, contaminated strike. Proton Sweep, Devastating Blow, Atom Smasher, Melt Armor. They have heavy stacking minus defense. It's going to ensure the team's accuracy and his critical hit or her critical hit rates stay high, especially when talking about bosses or densely packed mobs. There's also resistance debuff and Melt Armor. Potent AoE minus resistance. Dramatically increases all teammate damage output, especially when you're taking on enemies that have minus defense stacked on them. There's crowd control, Atom Smasher, the Disrupt Aura, Char, Ring of Fire. Give lots of controls across melee and range, helping lock down minions, selectively neutralize lieutenants or dangerous enemy casters, as you will. And then Endurance Drain. There's Energy Drain from the armor set, provides AoE Endurance Drain to prevent enemies from using most dangerous attacks. You can get a sizable minus endurance on the enemies. And it's going to boost his own defenses and endurance, her own defense and endurance. What makes her special? She's a burnout specialist, a walking hazard zone who fries enemy defenses, burns through their resistances, and leaves entire mobs wide open for annihilation. Her attacks don't just hurt. They set up the kill by combining this minus defense, this minus resistance to make every follow-up from the team hit harder. She's going to stagger enemies with radiation-powered punches and debilitate enemies from the inside out with this Melt Armor. Disrupt and Atom Smasher are going to keep the foes dazed, stunned, while her Radiant Core, the Energy Drain, robs enemies of endurance as she powers herself to strike again. Got to change my whatever pronouns here. Originally, this was a male, but I wanted to make her female later. Anyway, where others are hoping to hit, Overexposure is going to guarantee it. And so with her on the field, the enemy's not just going to lose. They are going to disintegrate. All right, that, my friends, is the concept that we're working with here. Lots of crazy ideas to play with. So there you go. Those are my 7. What do you think? Doable? Insanity? Waste of time? I don't know. Put your comments down below. If you have a favorite of the 7 that you want to see first, or you have a 1 through 7 order, let me know. I'm in the process of leveling these 7 people up right now. And I want to do some testing. I don't know. I haven't figured out exact testing parameters yet, but we'll get to it when we get to it. But there you are. Like the vid, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you think. Put your comments below. In the meantime, have yourselves a good one and peace out.